we have a new moon in Taurus incoming tomorrow. So we have a waning crescent moon moving into a balsamic dark moon phase, and it's feeling very weighty. And most likely it's because we, in this moon cycle, so we're starting a new moon cycle, but this is really the ending of what we've been through for the last 28 plus days, right? We had a full moon in Scorpio, which was very Mars oriented. And of course, we have Neptune and Saturn in the sign of Aries. Mars right now is in its own home sign of Aries, and we still have that energy. Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, has been making some major moves. So Pluto is now retrograde. So this is emphasizing more of the inner process of transformation that we've been on since Pluto has moved into the sign of Aquarius, right? So anywhere where Aquarius lands in your chart is where the work is happening, right? So yeah, so there's a color of Pluto as we're ending this cycle and starting a new cycle, and obviously Mars, right? Mars is going to be making some major moves with Venus in a sextile upcoming as Mars moves into the sign of Taurus. And before that, Mars is going to be making a conjunction to Chiron, which is really punctuating the story that started in the new moon, which was a new moon in Aries, the last new moon, right? So the last new moon in Aries, Chiron was at play in that chart, and now Mars is going to be making that conjunction. So whatever process that we've been going through with healing these aspects of identity and the I am, the sense of feeling safe to be who we are, but also whatever is keeping us connected to this I am presence of the divine spark within us, right? So it goes deeper than the surface, right? It goes deep into our sense of relation, right, with the divine within ourselves, right? So Scorpio is a very spiritual sign. So when we think of Taurus being on the other side, this is really about embodiment and bringing the spiritual into matter, right? When we do move into Cancer season, that's going to be more prominent. It's like we're building towards that, and we are actually moving away. So we've been moving away in Taurus season from the headiness of Aries season, even though these Aries influences are still there. Now we're emphasizing the body, and Taurus represents the throat, which is really interesting with this new moon because of the fixed star Algol being conjunct this new moon about a degree away, right? And this is about losing the head, right? This is the goddess Medusa being decapitated. Okay, this is the decapitated head. Well, the eye in the decapitated head, which still is powerful and causing havoc and fear, right? So this is very much about fear. But what I think is interesting is that the throat is really a bridge from the heart and the mind. And I think that the emphasis here is to feel into the body of where fear is residing. And since we've come off this full moon in Scorpio, what is it that we're feeling really hard? Like what in that process, or realizations or insights that happen in that full moon, what did we see that we're struggling with letting go, right? And it's really the body wisdom that's telling us right now. And there's so much more to Algol, and I think generally the feminine is really in the backdrop right now. So this is a Venus ruled sign, so there's a really strong undercurrent of where we are subconsciously and where we are in our healing process with the divine feminine, right? So there are great astrologers out there that are focused on feminism and astrology, and I'll put some links down there to for you to explore if this is something that you feel connected to. And I'm sure it's going to come up in this reading because largely my spiritual practice is rooted in the divine feminine. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised if this comes up in this reading. So why don't we just get started and get into it? I have done the shuffle and I have cut the deck. So why don't we just get into it? Okay. Okay, so, I kid you not, this is the first card. Wow. Okay, so like I said, Pluto's here. And if we're thinking about this idea of what we're struggling to let go of, this moon cycle is opening that up, right? To make space for creation. What is life-giving? What feels life-giving in our body when we reflect on the things that we are having challenge over, where we're feeling tension of separating ourselves from, right? So that we can make space for the new. So the card that actually the question that I asked for this reading was, what is standing in the way of this transformation? What is standing in the way of our embodied truth right now, right? So hopefully this reading is going to give some insight. I think that's a powerful card to start and open up with, right? Wow. And death, I mean, so blessed. Ceres is actually also very close into conjunction with this new moon, and it was interesting because in the full moon reading we talked about this death rebirth process and how it's just innate in living and life, and we see that in nature, right? So this cycle of death and rebirth is really prominent. Pluto will be going back direct in October, so Scorpio season, and Venus will be going retrograde at that time. So this is really, I think, pay attention to what's happening right now, because these themes are going to be coming up, more processed. We're going to be further along in our process, and maybe even culminating in some sort of process that's starting right now, right? Okay, so yeah, this is about some emotional currency that's happening right now, right? So with all this Aries energy, we could be really feeling, the need to individualize ourselves, individuate ourselves, to separate our things that no longer feel authentic, right? Everything is relational though, so it's about this gentle dance between what we're letting go and what we're bringing in. But also individuation actually means, like in a Jungian sense, right, is bringing together what is divided, right? So if we are feeling, this new moon would be really conducive to cord cutting, let's say, right? Cord cutting, to dissolving something. But if we haven't really come into the compassion that is needed, it will just come back. It will just grow back, right? Like we will find ourselves in a new situation, but with the same feeling. So I think that with these two cards, oh, so interesting. Look, they look the same, right? One is offering up this flag. It's the rose, right? It's the Rosicrucian rose, right? And we have the rose in the back. The rose, and the rose has thorns, right? The rose is in bloom, but the rose also has this sense of protection, but also the sense of pain that also comes with this emotional realization, emotional truth, the things that we've avoided looking at, right? So I think the key here again is this watery element, right, where the masculine is really holding in this, could be holding in this very integral way with integrity, right? So that the feminine can fully express, right? Because this is the Venusian new moon, right? So where is the masculine in this? And Venus will be moving into a sextile with Venus sometime in this moon cycle. So all these things that are happening in the background with the feminine, somehow the masculine energy that's been really prominent is going to come in, right, for support. So I think that's great. Okay. So we know that we need to change the way we're looking at things, right? And there could be this sense of, so Taurus is a fixed sign, so we've been in this fixed energy, and so we could still be feeling in this more or less, I mean, not to be totally dramatic, but free state, right? We know that we need to make different choices going and moving forward, right? Right. And this is also really speaking to this Neptune energy too. The Hangman is Neptune, and Neptune is in Aries, and there is a new ideal coming through again with not being divided. You know, in not in the shadow of individuation, right? The individuation of like, you know, I'm no longer that, and now I'm just going to throw away everything. It's the coming together that we want to accomplish here. So it's a delicate, precarious, maybe it's a delicate, maybe feeling also precarious situation because we don't want to repeat the same thing, right? Okay. Yeah. This is Aquarius energy. Okay, this is like fixed air energy. But I think that, you know, this card really speaks to what we're tracking here in these cards, right? So we're moving away from something to maybe turbulent waters into something that is more grounded. This is a swords card. Even though there's water here, there's a swords card, right? So we may not be able to actually mentally will ourselves out of a situation or use logic so much. You know, this is bringing in again the sense of where is the energy flowing, where is the good things flowing, where can we focus on the life-giving, where is the life-giving energy, right? So this could be more or less what we're thinking on a subconscious level, right? You know, searching for where there is that fertility, right? Of this new moon energy, right? Wow. So actually, this is the energy moving away. So again, if we're thinking about how we are going to be stepping into more embodied truth, this can also be a card of codependency, right? Of not being able to see yourself apart, to not be able to see yourself clearly because you're so enmeshed. And look, everything is relationship, and enmeshment is not necessarily something that we should be afraid of because, you know, this is also very fertile and creative too. But maybe there are some fertile creative things that are no longer, right? But there's a healing here. We can look at this on both sides. There's a healing here that has happened, or maybe is, that we maybe haven't acknowledged yet, right? Because we're holding on to something old, but there's actually a healing that's happening, right? So Chiron is in the mix here. Mars is going to be making that conjunction to Chiron pretty soon. And so again, this process that started in the new moon, let's think back to the beginning of this moon cycle, right? As we're starting a new moon cycle, right? What can we bring in? What truths, what realizations, what healing can we bring into the next cycle, right? Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. This is actually like the same, like, wow. The Lovers. Wow. So again, when I'm talking about coming together these disparate parts of ourselves, we're the complex of who we are, right? So we have many selves. We have many selves that are operating, right? And some can be in conflict, and some can be, unhealthily maybe. We could be perpetuating certain patterns, but I think that there's an opportunity, and this is also speaking to, this is Gemini energy. And so Venus is in the sign of Gemini right now. So yeah, that's interesting. Is she? Wait a second. She is, I think. Oh gosh, I should really know this. Where she is. No, I believe she is. She's moved out of that sign of Taurus already. No, she has not. She has not, because she will be making a sextile to Mars, and so she's going to still be in, oh my gosh, she's going to be in Cancer. I should really see. She's moving fast right now, right? So, in October, she's going to be slowing down again, right? But she's actually moving really fast, and you can see her in the night sky up high, in the evening time. But what I'm trying to say is Gemini, this could speak to Gemini season, right? And Uranus in Gemini. When you think about Uranus right now, as Uranus might be speaking really loud as it has ingressed into Gemini, It was just in the sign of Taurus. So this is the first new moon in the last 7+ since 2018 that Uranus has not been in the sign of Taurus. Right. And so I brought up Chiron, right? I brought up Chiron in the sense of healing relationship through the healing of self, right? Aries. Once we heal ourselves, we can heal ourselves relationally, right? It starts to cascade into relation when we get right with ourselves. So in that full moon of Scorpio, I was talking about confession, right? The confessions that we have, that could, yeah. Did we do that confession? I mean, it can be just as powerful to confess in a community, right? That's really powerful, right? To heal in group dynamics, but we might still need to make that confession, and maybe it's between you and yourself, right? What is the confession between you and yourself? And in that way, there's healing. In that way, there's union, right? There's union of the shadow, right? There's union to the shadow. And there's a way that we can integrate through confession, right? Through confession, through dream time too, right? To see these other aspects of ourselves, right? So we have this energy that's very receptive and very intuitive right now because of Neptune. So yeah, this is great. This is great. This is beautiful. This is really beautiful. Okay. So what's next? Yeah, so what is this? This is fixed water, right? This is scorpionic. This is a Scorpio card. I think we may have had this last week also. So we're still processing the death. We're still processing that what is looking to be future fertilizer, right? So allowing ourselves to grieve something without rushing forward is important, right? Is important. Yeah. Because I think a part of self-love, right? A part of self-love is honoring things that have happened in relationship, and even with self, it is to honor, our grievances, right? So, yeah, this can even be thinking about how we've self-undone. We've undid ourselves. We undo ourselves. So this is very 12th house energy. It's a Piscean energy, but we can see how we've compromised ourselves in situations, and that's power. So Pluto is about reclaiming power. Essentially, that is the end game of Pluto, is to restore the power that has been given away, right? And so again, if we're thinking about the dark feminine working behind the scenes, yeah, there's huge reclamation here. Yeah. Of self, and therefore relationship, and therefore extending into community, right? Okay. There could still be this energy around that's really focusing on the logical, right? Again, the head, dominating with the head, dominating with that sense of rationalization and rationalizing. But to be in balance is actually, and to be in wise mind, as they say in DBT. I don't know if anybody listening knows DBT, dialectic behavioral therapy. That, right. Well, we have many sides to ourselves, like I was saying, but also to balance this out, right, of the head and the mind, right? That we can't just let ourselves go and act on every emotional impulse, but we also can't explain everything away into harmony, right? Or into a sense of moving away from whatever difficult emotions that we're going through. So it's like the spiritual bypassing energy here, right? Okay, let's see these last two cards, right? Okay. Yeah, the work. So what is this? Eight of Pentacles. This is Virgo energy. Priestess energy. Right. So Mercury had a Kazemi with the sun. Mercury was in Kazemi, right? Which just means that Mercury was in the heart of the sun, starting this new mental new mind, a new cycle. Although this is the superior conjunction, something is coming clear about this ending of a cycle in mind, in structuring. So we could be feeling that we need to, well, this is putting the work in. So this is actually this is the first decan of Virgo, and right now the nodes, the south node in Virgo is in the first decan. Yeah, the perfectionism coming in. Look, this is messy. When we're thinking about emotional things and embodiment, right, that the Scorpio Taurus axis shows us, we could be, the sense of perfection can be really overpowering, right, in that process. But that's okay. This could be messy, right? And don't get ahead of yourself. Spend the time in reflection, right, if that's what's needed right now. Okay, last card. Wow. Woo! I love this last card. Oh my God. Wow. So this is the goddess, right? And she has this beautiful symbol of infinity above her head. And she is powerful. The goddess is powerful. So powerful. And the taming of the line is really it's the taming of the animal, right? So if we're thinking about Taurus season, the shadow of that is being too materialistic in the sense of the pleasures of the body, and this can be seen as the animal instinctual side of ourselves, not to quell it or to dismiss it or to exile it. It's about knowing how to control it, right? Because it has its place. It has its place. And if anything, that Algol is really showing us with Medusa, and the powerful side of Medusa is this reclamation of power and strength, right? So I will leave her video in the comments, because this new woman on the scene with feminist astrology was talking about how even the way we tell myths, will evolve as we are moving through whatever overculture that we're in context to. And right now, if we're looking at it through a patriarchal lens, we can say, oh, Medusa was punished, snakes in her head, and she was turning men into stone. It was actually a transfer of power, actually. It was a transfer of power from Athena to Medusa, and giving her this strength of wow, retribution, reclamation, just, it's really inspiring. So where in it are we saying, where in it are we taking our power back, right? With Pluto here in this mix. So much dark feminine energy, but I love this card. This is also speaking to Leo season that's coming, where we're going to have the masculine fire coming in again. This is a beautiful time to get into more of the feminine, right? We're moving into, well, Gemini season is air too. It's very masculine, but there's big shifts that are going to be happening in Leo season. And if we're talking about the nodal axis, we're going to be moving into, the nodes are going to be moving into Leo and Aquarius. So I think that, and so we're going to be moving again into this fixed cross, right? So we're in Taurus Scorpio season. As we're wrapping up Taurus season, Leo season, there's going to probably be something else in this process that is also going to reveal itself with the Leo sun. Okay, that's what I have for you. I have one card that I'm going to pull to inspire, I guess, more insight and understanding, is the Rumi deck. So, I mean, this is a Venusian new moon, so why not? Let's get into this devotional heart space of the goddess and the feminine by looking at what Rumi says, right? I love Rumi because Rumi is very much about this relationship that we have with divine, and it becomes a love story. So I really love that about him, and the way that we can be devoted to the divine, right? As a spouse, right? Like our spouse. So what is this love affair showing us right now as far as our soul development? Because that's really essentially what it is. The divine brings us back into clarity of our soul purpose, right? So what is that? So if Rumi can give us some insight on what is bringing all these cards together to a final message. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, look at this beautiful card. Oh God, wow, wow. The Celestial Rose of Ma. And we talked about the rose, right, in this death card. Yeah, beautiful. Why don't we do a little quick here reading on this card. That is just beautiful. Wow. The rose, the mystical rose. Oh, so beautiful. And the rose is really symbolic of Venus and her orbit in the sky. So I think that this is really coming through too, that we need to put a pin in whatever is arising right now, because in Scorpio season, this is really going to come through. Okay, so there is a poem here, a Rumi poem in the beginning, and we'll end it with this. Whew. Celestial Rose of Ma. The taste of bitterness becomes sweetness in love. The searching in the dark finds the light of faith revealed in love. Love transforms thistles into jasmine. Love layers heaven and gifts us with wings to soar into its mystery. Love transforms our every thought into desire of the heart. O love, how divine is your luring. Beauty flows from your unseen face. Your very nature is radiant with joy. You manifest vibrant hues in every flower. Your touch dazzles all creation. Every particle is attracted towards you, longing to unite and dwell in you. Wow, so beautiful.